Hey guys, it's Siobhan with Tikiti and Beyond. Today I wanted to talk about the new moon in Scorpio. So this energy has been building for a little while, and new moons aren't normally super potent energy or noticeable so much as full moons are, but in this case, I've kind of been experiencing something a little bit similar to a full moon energy in my own subjective experience. So I'm not an astrologer by any means. I do follow astrology and other astrologers, so I read up on things on a daily basis, but I'm not, I haven't studied it extensively myself. So I really just go off of what I'm feeling and what I'm experiencing at a subjective level, as well as what I'm kind of seeing around me and the general themes. And what I've been noticing in the readings, as well as in my own life and the lives of others around me, as well as what's being expounded by other, spiritual people online and other healers, as well as astrologers. Really seeing that this Scorpio new moon has a pretty heavy energy of renewal. And I've been seeing, and I think I've mentioned in the past, that I kept seeing the word restructuring, or oh my god, what was it? I'm drawing a blank. Like refurbishing, reconstitution, something about rebuilding. So it was like redoing or renovating or, completely overhauling something that is really due for an overhaul. And I'm really feeling that this is to do with our mind, to do with our beliefs and where those beliefs came from and how they're creating our reality. So I posted something on Instagram today, and I was talking about how these affirmations to restructure our minds can be really helpful. And I put out some affirmations. Let me see what I wrote. Oh yeah, okay. So I'm willing to expose and have compassion for any areas within myself that I have ignored, rationalized, or hidden that are no longer serving me for my greatest and highest good. May these areas come to light, for I know that only in awareness can I free myself from these self-imposed restrictions. I empower myself now to make choices in alignment with my soul. So basically what I was trying to get at there with those affirmations for this full moon or new moon is that we oftentimes rationalize our choices, or we defend making choices that aren't necessarily good for us, or we know that aren't good for us. And this can happen in really small ways, everything from, eating some junk food to going along with somebody else's idea of fun when you're not really on board, etc., to more serious things like staying in a job that you hate, or doing something to please your parents, or making choices that aren't good for you and they don't feel right, or they're not in alignment with your soul, but you do it anyway because you feel like you should, or because you're trying to make other people happy, or because it's a societal standard. So there's many, many different ways that this can play out in our lives. But essentially what I was trying to get at is that if these things aren't in alignment with our soul, then ultimately we are creating blocks and restrictions for ourselves. And from these blocks and restrictions, we get karmic choices. So, every choice is karmic, but I mean that these will be negative karmic choices in that they are blocking us off from our true potential and creating barriers to source consciousness. So every time we make a negative decision for ourselves, something that goes against what we truly believe or what we truly want or what we need at soul level, not just physically or mentally, but at a soul level, at the level of heart, this is when we start to see issues crop up in our lives, blocks, physical blocks, things not working out, manifestations not coming to fruition the way that we'd hoped, or kind of half coming to light, but then not fully showing up how we intended. And since we are the creators of our reality, and we create our reality through intention, if your intention is not playing out the way that you intended it, then that's a pretty clear indication that there is some underlying block or restriction that you've created for yourself. And what I've seen a lot is that there's judgment and blame as to why these things occur. So you can blame other people, situations, circumstances. You can blame it on luck. You can blame it on all sorts of different things. And you can judge the situation or judge other people around you who seem to have it better than you do, or who were just luckier than you are. But really, in reality, it's not that at all. It's an internal issue. And if you're blaming or judging anything outside of yourself for it, then ultimately you're really just disempowering yourself. And the more you continue to disempower, to externalize everything, it's not your fault, etc., then you go and you continue and you perpetuate that cycle of karmic choice. Because again, the choice you're making in that moment is to externalize. So this Scorpio full moon is giving us a chance to really dive deep into the issues that lie within us and to look at them plainly, clearly, and without judgment of ourselves or others, with discernment. And I've made a video on judgment and discernment in the past, if you want to check that out. But to look at our own way of thinking, our own mental blocks and restrictions, and how those are affecting our life. And it's never anybody else's fault, because yes, society is the way it is, and yes, your parents may have these beliefs or expectations of you or your friends or your job, but you are always at choice. We always have a choice. We always have free will, and we can exert this in any way that we see fit. The problem is that a lot of the time, making the free will choice to change is a lot more difficult than staying in the situation that we're comfortable with or that we're used to. And even if it's a situation that we're not 100% comfortable with, oftentimes people will tend to stay in it simply because it's what they know. And there is always this sort of underlying fear of the unknown, of general change, and anything that lies outside of the realm of the immediate, in the here and now. Also, we tend to make choices based on what we've experienced in the past. So if in the past we had an experience and it didn't work out very well, we made a choice and it didn't serve us that well, chances are good we're not going to want to make that choice again. Unless, of course, we feel like we should being the operative word, as it's something of an external force. So again, we need to look within to find out why we feel like we should, and whether or not that's really working for us and our reality in our life. Because this is our life. We only get one life as this character, as this person. So we might as well make the most of it. We do get the second chance again to do it in another life. We reincarnate over and over. We're infinite beings. But every time that we make negative choices, those carry forward with us into the next life as well. So yes, you change characters, you change scenery and setting and environment, but you're still the same soul, and you still have those innate soul beliefs. So anything that you learn in this lifetime, you take with you. The slate is not wiped clean. There is no tabula rasa. You continue with the innate learnings that you have acquired through each lifetime. And that's why some of these choices don't even stem from this lifetime. Some of them are being carried forward. But that's not to blame your past self or that past life, or to say that it's not your fault. Because if it's continuing, then it is being perpetuated at a conscious level by you. And that's not to imply fault, even though I just used the word fault. I really don't believe that there is fault in any of us. We are simply souls learning to express our creativity through free will in this physical realm. That's a lot more difficult than we initially thought that it would be at a soul level, pre-incarnation. And then, so now we're coming in to try and figure out how this all works while not really retaining any knowledge of what happened in the past or who we are at soul level. So in that sense, we do have a blank slate, but everything gets carried forward. So we have to try and piece it together and understand why this is happening and how we can change our reactions and our choices based on our beliefs. And therefore, we need to dig deep into our beliefs. Why do we believe this? Because beliefs, as I've said many times in the past, are just thoughts that we think repeatedly or that we invest a lot of energy into. You can change your beliefs at any time. Anyone can change at any time, for better or for worse, but it's always your choice. It's always free will. Nobody can change you. They can change your environment, your settings, the influences around you, but they cannot change you. Only you can do that. Only we can change ourselves. So if you're sitting there thinking that, it's not your fault and everything happens to you, then perhaps it's time to assess why you think that is and whether or not that's true. Because it can go both ways. We can either feel sorry for ourselves or we can abdicate our responsibility and give it to others. But ultimately, both of those choices are negative in nature. They just result in more of the same negative karma that we have to resolve eventually. So either we do it now or we continue on these patterns of repetition like a broken record until we're so sick of it that we have to change. So change really does happen when we get tired of our own cycles, to put it nicely. And there's no judgment from me, because trust me, I'm right in it too. Like, we're all humans, we're all here experiencing the same thing. We like to create these barriers of separation, but we're not separate. We're not different. We're all the same, really, in reality. We go through so many different things, and we're very different at soul level based on our blueprint, but we're still all the same. We come from the same place. Same the same blood flows through our veins. Different types, yes, but it's still blood. And the same consciousness exists within our mind, heart, and stomach, because we've got the 3 brains. So whether you agree with this or not, I don't really care, because I'm learning to break karmic cycles too. And I hope that you do too. I hope that you choose to change for the better for yourself, because it is up to you. It's time to take back your power. And with great power comes great responsibility. One of my favorite ever quotes from Spider-Man. I think Uncle Ben said it. So, it's really our choice. It's our responsibility. And that can be really scary, to think that we're responsible for every choice that we make. And that can create indecisiveness and fear around making choices at all. So again, the pendulum swings both ways. It's really just about finding that middle ground for ourselves and finding where it is that we can really live from a place of creative inspiration and manifest, or rather create, at a consciousness level, the life of our dreams through our choices and through our intentions. So the new moon is a great time to set intentions for yourself, to do affirmations that you resonate with, to create affirmations. This morning in my meditation, I started creating these rhymes in my head, and I don't remember what they were now. I should have written them down, but I was fully in meditation, and it was almost like a spell. You're creating a rhymed intention to add power to it, and the focus and the intention was there. So that's really all it takes, is awareness, because we can't change something that we're not aware of. So first, we have to be willing to look at it. Second, we have to be willing to understand and forgive ourselves for having made these choices that don't work for us, for having abdicated our responsibility to others, or for having felt sorry for ourselves, or for having self-destructed or being self-delusional. Basically, we have to forgive ourselves for trapping ourselves in the first place to be able to free us, because we're the ones who have put ourselves behind bars, and we're also the ones who hold the key. So once we come to be okay with that knowledge, to understand it, and to be able to make good choices from that knowledge, then that's when we can create change in our lives. I think that's all I wanted to talk about today. So thank you if you're still here, having listened to my rambles about the new moon. And I really hope that you guys are doing some deep diving over the course of the next couple of weeks, especially with Mercury going retrograde on Halloween. So we have a lot of reassessment energy. We're getting to look at the things, once again, that need to be changed. And one thing at a time. Don't get overwhelmed. Just take it one step at a time. Try to make small, achievable goals that you can feel confident about, and do some self-work, some self-exploration, and some self-healing through love. Know that we're all one. We're all in this together. So no decisiveness, no judgment, only love. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. I love you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.